So do I have to say professor now?
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes.
Okay, so officially, my name is Professor Jeannine Remy, and I am the percussion and steel pan lady here at the University of the West Indies. Listening to recordings as a child, my parents would play lots of music for us on the record player to go to sleep and you know, nap time and that kind of thing. I had musicians in the house. My grandmother played piano and organ, and my uncle played the drums. So I would sneak and go upstairs and play on his drum set, and he'd always know when I interfered with it. I think the whole family, but mostly came from my mother's side. She was a singer and a French horn player. My grandmother, her mother was also a musician. She was the pianist and organist. And on my father's side, I had an aunt who taught me lots of pieces by rote on the piano, which I kind of liked.
Okay.
From the young age, I began playing piano around 6 or 7 years old. I had a piano teacher by the name of Karen Schultz. And then Joan Engelbretson on piano. On drums, it was Roger Rosnowski. He was my band director, and he wanted to make sure that I was able to play all the instruments, not just snare drum. And I was forced to play because I was the keyboard player, so I could read the music as well. So I got to play everything. I think overcoming the challenges with any musician, you have to think out of the box and find ways. For example, I literally made a drum set out of boxes so it wouldn't be too noisy, and then I got a real drum set. I moved from my bedroom to the garage and even outside in the summer. So yeah, the drum set was outside. That's where I was put. In band, there weren't a lot of female percussionists, so you had to like prove yourself. So I think it is, trying to figure out, who the best teachers are. I've always had that challenge. I've moved around to different universities. My band director couldn't teach me anymore. So my parents, as a high school kid, took me to the university for private lessons in percussion because they didn't know what to do with me. And the teacher there would give me an etude, and I'd come back the next week with it completely learned. More than, it takes a whole semester usually for students to do that. And I thought I was supposed to learn the music and come back and get another piece. That's what I thought. Yeah. In college, I was like the person who could never say no. So I performed in all the ensembles, everything, people's recitals, that kind of thing. And, being a perfectionist and an overachiever a little bit, I think, I always wanted to be in the spotlight of performing and assisting others. I started to come to Trinidad in 1989, and I tried to attend and perform in every panorama that I could. And after I got the grandfather grant of them all, which was the Fulbright, there was an opening here. Sat was going to NIU, and I took his spot as a lecturer. Right? And so I taught some of his courses, and that was in 2000 to 2001. And then I realized I really liked it in Trinidad. Wouldn't it be fun to teach during the day and do pan at night? So when Mr. Mervyn Williams got sick, they advertised the position, and I gave up everything. So that's the pivotal point where I was very this close to being full professor. I was associate professor, and I had a couple months, and I would have been a full professor. And then 23 years later, now I am now in that part. So I should have. I didn't realize that I could have asked to climb the ladder a lot faster. I was just having fun because, doing music during the day and working with the students and doing the pan stuff at night was my dream job. When I first came here, there were no percussion instruments whatsoever. And I came here with a container. And when we pulled out the instruments, the students really didn't know how to play them. Right. And I believe one of the reasons why I came here was to make sure that I could see a need for teaching percussion. Watching a lot of the videotapes of Pan is Beautiful and watching the percussionists play, I realized that they had no education as far as where to strike the timpani or crash the cymbals or hit the gong or how to play the triangle. And I thought, there's a real need for that here. So it was sort of my mission to do that, to teach percussion at the university. I think the students have changed a lot. It used to be that, you didn't have the challenge of them walking in with a cell phone or going on Facebook or whatever they're doing in the back row when you're lecturing, that would have never happened before. And then the newest challenge is AI, where you have to be on your toes as a professor, teacher, lecturer, to make sure that they don't cheat and that they do their own work.
Right.
Yeah. I think some of those students who have these tools at hand, like AI and these different things, I think they have learned how to, what they need to do to focus and learn their music without distraction. I'm the kind of teacher who is on the side of the students. I'm not really into the administrative aspects. I like to be right down and dirty with the students, preparing for concerts and recitals and that sort of thing. My most rewarding one was taking the group to Austin, Texas, when we did the Rainmakers. That was really, really, for a group that had just started in 2003, to get that in 2008, we were amongst the best percussionists in the world there. So, they've come a long way, and I'm proud of them. My students will laugh because they have me down with many, many quotes. But one of the famous quotes that they like is "Sink or swim."
I saw that.
Yeah, because either you learn your music and you try, even if you make mistakes, rather than just not try. And I think that is really what I've taught them over the years. I think you have to pursue your passion. If you're going to be happy in life, it's not always about the money, believe me. It's not about the money. It's about being happy and doing what you like to do and making a difference in the world the best that you can. Teaching your students how to be good human beings and how to treat people and how to prepare for situations. I believe that they should work hard towards their goals and never think that they can't do something. Oh, there's been so many favorite memories, but I would say, conducting Pan is Beautiful was a really interesting memory for me, working with the steel band Hatters and playing 9/11, working with Invaders and doing different things. Well, one time, Percussion Ensemble went to St. Francis Girls' School in Belmont. And we performed there, and we got the kids so riled up that when they went back to their rooms, they started beating on their chairs and pounding. And we sort of got them in trouble, but the excitement of percussion really inspired some of them to come to school here. So it was a good little recruitment.
Nice.
Yeah. I think the performances, we've done some neat performances in Kitchener Hall. Is that a Kitchener Performance Auditorium, Napa? And in Daga Hall, we've been all over the place, and we usually team up with the choir when we perform. So that's always kind of fun to see them, and then do avant-garde stuff. I love the reaction of the car horn piece and the brooms and the trash cans. It gives them something fun, nostalgic to do. I love the students, and I love the people that I work with, yes. But I love seeing how they grow. And I love walking around the practice room area and hearing all my music being played. It's incredible. I mean, I didn't realize how much I contributed all over these years until now, when that's the only thing they're really playing, is a lot of my music. Of course, they play other things, but I hope that legacy continues where they continue to play my pieces, but I also hope that they do their own pieces. Because I think the funnest class I've taught while I've been here is that composition class. Those kids did a good job. They really came up with some great compositions, and that's what it's all about. I try to balance research with publications, and then the teaching, and it's a hard thing. And then too, when my kids were young, I had to be the mom on top of it all and make sure that they got to school and had their homework done. So I've accomplished that part. They're growing up and they're doing wonderfully. So I think it's just a growing stage that continues to motivate my existence. All along the book, the publications were the research. Fridays are my research day. So yes, the publications, there's like 3 or 4 books out there, but I did enjoy that. I enjoyed doing the interviews, So yes, that's a major accomplishment. And, the only thing I really kick myself for is not realizing I could have asked when I got here where I was in my career, that I had to start over. So I started my life over in Trinidad. But I didn't really care because it was passion. Yeah. The pandemic made me learn to press and guess on the computer, because there's a big learning curve, learning how Zoom works, all these things. And it was really frustrating with the students. We hear crickets in the background and you wonder if anybody's there while you're lecturing sometimes, or they're off doing something, or how they're dressed or whatever behind the camera. You don't know. No, I did not want to quit teaching. I still had some time left, and I figure if I have to go through this, they have to go through it. And it worked out. Just face-to-face was so much better. I do practice every day, and I do compose every day. I find the time. Mr. Murray says I need to sleep more, but I find that instead of watching TV and doing all these things, I find comfort in having my pans set up and playing. And then sometimes, I don't know if you notice this, but I'd be here at 7 a.m. practicing marimba and timpani and all kinds of things. So, yeah. So I do, because if you're teaching students to practice, then you better practice yourself. Mm-hmm. Right? You better practice and practice what you preach. Yeah. Well, locally I am leaving. So I'm hoping to come back and forth to Trinidad. And maybe finish my last couple book projects, and maybe do some judging or whatever I end up doing. But going back, I'm going to be performing with local community groups. And I will not just sit there and do nothing. Music will always be, maybe start a music school. That's what I was also thinking, because I'm bringing back all the instruments, so I have to use them. Right? Never. I don't think I will ever stop. So as I retired and go into where I live in Wisconsin, I'm going to be playing in the Swinging Doors Jazz Band and the Symphonic Band. And on sabbatical, I'll be going around to different schools in the United States and doing clinics and doing performance more than teaching, which I really will enjoy. I'm hoping that my students have gotten so good, and believe me, they are very good, that they now have this knowledge of percussion, that they perhaps start building a percussion ensemble, and maybe even going abroad and studying their master's and doctorate in percussion performance or whatever they end up doing. I would say that if you really love to do something, you should really continue to do it and pass that knowledge on to the future. The music that I've contributed, the books that I've done, for the culture. Everybody wants to have their memories left behind when they leave this world, and I'm just hoping that I've made a difference and made people happy through what I do.